I'm a bit of a Scouse. I mean, I first went to school in Wallasey. My 5th birthday, I went across the Mersey on a ferry to the Liverpool Overhead Railway, which did exist in those days, and went along the docks. It was a docks tour.
I feel good, I feel bad, I feel happy, I feel sad.
I'm going to visit the cavern too, because they've got the Ruttles in the cavern. So I'm going to go and visit. They're going to make a little film.
The Ruttles, of course, George Harrison, very heavily involved with you guys as Monty Python and the Ruttles. And you played Macca, didn't you?
I played Dirk McQuickly, yes.
Dirk McQuickly, yeah.
And
Neil Innes was Ron Nasty.
He played Nasty. Ron Nasty was very funny. And yeah, it was good fun. And I've got a new clip on the show, which I'm bringing. It's an 8-minute clip, actually, which I say is by Peter Jackson. But it isn't actually, but still. And it's got a lot from my second one I made. The first one was called All You Need Is Cash. And the second film I made was Can't Buy Me Lunch. And it's got a lot of very famous, funny people talking about the Ruttles and the effect of the Ruttles on the world. And that's got some of my favorite jokes in. I mean, Tom Hanks is on with the triangular record and he's improvising. It's very funny stuff. So I put a lot of that in because it's my favorite stuff. And I've tried to show, film. When I show film, I try and show things that people haven't seen and they're not used to. So I try and keep it, fresh for people.
Yeah. So, but what did the other Beatles feel about that then? So obviously Ron Nasty was meant to be John and you were obviously playing Paul McCartney. How did the other guys, how did they feel about it?
Well, I mean, George supported it. He's in the film, he plays an interviewer. And he showed me a film they made called Long and Winding Road, which they couldn't agree to release because none of them could agree which bits they wanted in. But that eventually appeared sort of towards the end of the 90s in a documentary series. But I met Paul in the park, actually, and he was a bit, he was a bit weird odd. But Linda loved it because I played her husband. And then he found out I'd been at school in Wallasey. He said, "Oh, he's a Scouse. He's one of us. That's great. He's one of us." So I was all right. I got the Scouse pass.
Oh yeah, it takes a while to get the Scouse pass, but well done. Yes, you obviously passed the test there. I mean, and of course, you said that you've been in showbiz now since 1963. How did you become the one that wrote the tunes? What was it about you writing the tunes, the music and the lyrics? Why did you decide to do that?
I didn't write all the songs. I mean, Mike and Terry wrote some very good ones, the Spam song, the Lumberjack song, but I had a guitar since I was 12 because I was a huge Elvis fan. He changed our lives in boarding school. And so I had to have a guitar. And over the years, I've learned how to play it bit by bit. And I like writing songs and I like writing, I like playing with people. We have a lot of ding-dongs, we call them. We have, we're going to have one tonight with Professor Brian Cox and his son George. We'll be out there with the guitars. Brian plays piano and he plays Things Can Only Get Better, which of course was quite wrong as a song. But, he was in D Ream. Did you know that?
Yeah, anyway. D Ream, yes.
Yeah, he was in D Ream before he became, professor. Anyway, he's good fun. And so to answer your question, I was in the choir for many, many years. So I learned a little bit of dots and how to sing. And then, when I left, the guitar's always been part of my life. I mean, it's just a wonderful thing. I have to confess, I have 30. I mean, it's like I've only got 2 hands, but I've got 30 guitars. I'm trying to get rid of them bit by bit, but you buy them over the years. And the one I bought to write Brightside on, I bought in 1971. I remember buying that at Macari's, and then I wrote that song on it. So it's very nice. It's a Gibson acoustic. But I like Taylor's and I like all sorts of guitars, really.
Is there one you've never had? One you've never found?
I've got some handmade ones. I've got all sorts of ones. And no, I think I have plenty. Don't encourage me to get any more.
Obviously, you say in this show that you're going to celebrate George Harrison, the lovely Neil Innes, Robin Williams. You and Neil, obviously, both as lyricists and music makers, must have got on like a house on fire.
Well, we did a children's show called "Do Not Adjust Your Set," And the group that was on every week was called the Bonzo Dog Doodah Band, and Neil was the pianist in that. So that's how we got to know him first, and then they sort of split up. I think in America they all came, and then so we took him on our tour of Canada. We took him on the road, and I ended up doing a show called Rutland Weekend Television when Python finished, and Neil would do a couple of songs a week on it, and he was he was a very clever and gifted songwriter. And when I wrote Ruttles and got it sold to NBC in America and had the script, I called him up and I said, I need 12 new Beatles songs. And he did it. He got a band together and they played on a barge in London, and they just made these wonderful songs. And they're still now played on Spotify along with the Beatles. It's quite extraordinary, really.
How did you get away? How did Apple let you get away with that? Because they were very,
Well,
protective, weren't
Apple,
they?
it was before, well, it wasn't before Apple, but Lou Gray grabbed hold of them because he owned ATV Music, and they had all the songs. And I said, look on the bright side, Neil, they're now credited as Lennon, McCartney, Innes. And then I think eventually the American law changed and you were allowed to do parodies. For example, Weird Al couldn't have had a career but for the fact that you could do parodies. So, I think he got all his things back, all his copyrights back. And, I think they are he's a parodist. I'm a parodist too, because I mean, the film's a parody. But the songs have they're very clever. They've referenced things and they sound familiar. And you think, I must know this Beatles song. And no, it's a Ruttles song. so it is probably one of the most favorite things I ever did in my life was filming that. It was a great fun to do.
You shot it in Liverpool, did you?
Yeah, of course. It's on the Mersey Tree, and then we ran around, and then I think I got married to a Bianca, Jagger. I think she was my first screen kiss.
Well, that's not a bad first screen kiss, is it?
Not a bad first screen kiss, is it? And then Roger McGough, the Liverpool poet, he's in it. I filmed him. We did a lot in Liverpool 8.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So we spent a lot of time in Liverpool, and then we went to Southport to try and pretend we were in the West Indies to do that. We had cardboard cutout trees of coconut trees to film Ouch, which was Help,
Oh, yes, I do like that one, yeah. You mentioned a little bit there about always look on the bright side of life. I mean, 10 years ago now, it was voted the top funeral tunes, whether you were being cremated or buried. It's one of the top 10s. How do you feel about that tune that was in, obviously, The Life of Brian?
It went to number 1 20 years ago. It's been in the top 10 for 20 years.
Gosh.
And it's the number 1 funeral song. And I was very proud because it knocked Frank Sinatra off the perch. My way went goodbye, my way. And I feel I'm very proud of it. I think it's very healthy. I think that people, asking their friends to sing that for them, or fathers will do it for their children whom they've introduced Python to. And I think it's really healthy because I think you need a bit of a laugh and a cry at a funeral. They're very close together. Both of the emotions are close together. And I think it's nicer than a kind of dirgy old hymn, really. It's like, and it just makes, it's one of the things I'm most proud of. Of course, they don't pay any money.
No, you don't get much coin for it, I would imagine.
You don't get any royalties. No, you don't. But still. And I was a bit surprised the Queen didn't ask for it on hers, because she wouldn't have had to pay royalties anyway. But anyway.
I'm having it. If anyone's actually listened to me, they know I want it when I snuff it. So,
bless you.
Definitely, I'm having that. Do you think? I mean, obviously, we all think about our mortality a bit more as we get older. But you, as younger lads with the Python Boys and all that, you did deal in death quite a lot, didn't you? As a subject, do you think you thought about your mortality a lot then when you were younger?
I'm not quite sure. I think that death and comedy are quite close. The skull of the jester. I think it is to remind you that you are not here forever, and that you're going to go, and that You know, don't don't have any grandeur about being the wealthiest or the they're going to go too. You know, so I think that is a leveling thing, which comedy sort of is as well. So yeah, we did a few bits about undertakers and things, and I, but I think there are some very quite shocking sketches. We did one, I think, about a guy bringing his mother in a sack, and the guy says, "Oh, there's three things you can do with your mother: you can burn her, you can bury her, or you can dump her in the Thames." And the audience says, "We did that on stage." The audience just gasp in horror, you know. But I think we like that. I think we like, you know, putting people on the spot. I think that's part of what comedy does.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, as you say, it's going to happen to all of us. You've got to talk about it, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's not a surprise. It shouldn't be a surprise. And George was very good at reminding people that, you know, about that, because he became a Hindu, and he was very much into that. About you can have all the money in the world, you can be the most famous people in the world, but you're still going to have to die.
Mm.
And I think that changed his mind, and that changed his life a little bit when he realized that. And he became kind of cosmic. I think that was very, very important for him.
I must be in love.